Welcome back to a new episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. Today, we're going to start a new series on the podcast all around the power of community. We're going to be talking about what community is, what value it brings, what is this power that we talk about community has, how to find your community, and how to build community. Today, the first episode on the series, I'm flying solo. I'm going to share my own perspectives on this topic. And then on future episodes, I want to bring to you some of the amazing people that I've met in my journey to find community. Some of my chosen family, because that's what they are to me after having the opportunity to be in community with them. So, buckle up and be ready to learn more about the power of community. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. Let's talk about the power of community. That is my theme for the month of August. If you've been following along, you know that every month I find a theme for the month. I like to think about the year as a book with 12 chapters, and chapter 8 of this 2022 book is called The Power of Community. I have been so lucky. I don't have words to describe it other than lucky and blessed to have find amazing people in my journey this year and to be able to see for myself and experience for myself the power of community, which is something that I knew about. It's something that I had heard about. It's something that to some extent I had experienced before, but not to the level that I had experienced this year. And I think that is because I've been very intentional about focusing on building community and finding my own tribe, finding a community that I feel I can belong to. And that's what I want to share with you on today's podcast episode. I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned in my own journey to find community and to harvest the power of community. And I'm entering into this new phase of now building community, which is something that with the excuse of my Thrive conference, I am trying to build a community around the conference of like minded people that we can connect and learn from each other and cheer each other. And I want to see what it takes to build something that I have the privilege to be part of in other communities and bring it now to this new dimension of building my own community. So, I'm going to share with you again what has been my journey and the things that I've learned so far. So, let's start with community, right? I have talked about community before when I've talked about habits, when I've talked about achieving your goals and your dreams, or almost in every topic that I covered here in the podcast, there is a perspective, there is an element of community. And there is a reason for that. I think that human beings were social beings and we need to be part of a community. We need the support of others around us to achieve anything that we want to achieve. We can't do anything by ourselves. Um, And I think we are very wrong if we think we can, because there is such amazing power in being part of a community of like minded people that just takes any experience to the next level. And that has been my personal experience. So I want to unbundle a little bit what has been the journey for me. I have always heard the concept of finding your tribe, finding your people. And I wasn't sure about what that meant until about 3 years ago, where I really leaned into the power of community. And this was, and let me pause for a second. I think community can be valuable in any area of your life, and you can be part of multiple communities for different purposes or in different areas of your life, or in different roles that you play in your day to day in your life. So for me, it started with health and fitness. That's where my journey with community started 3 years ago, the intentional journey. I had been a part of communities before, but it wasn't something that I was necessarily pursuing beyond the fact of wanting to have friends and wanting to connect with others. But 3 years ago, I was looking to get back in shape. I had struggled to lose some weight that I had gained, and I was sick and tired of starting over and over again almost every Monday or every first of the month, when it comes to being consistent with exercising and taking care of my nutrition and taking care of myself. And I knew that this space of health and fitness was key if I wanted to live the life that I was dreaming about. If I wanted to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve, I needed to be in perfect health, in optimal health. I needed the energy to be able to do all the things that I wanted to do. And I wasn't feeling at my best at that time, on one hand because I was not in shape, and on the other hand because I have broken promises to myself over and over again around exercising and nutrition and all of those things. So I am the kind of person that will never ask you to do something that I haven't done before. So I told myself, I'm going to become a health and fitness coach, because in order for me to be able to coach others, I need first to do the things. I need first to be consistent. I need first to take care of myself. I need first to do all the things that I probably going to find myself telling others to do. And here I come. I became a health and fitness coach. And I didn't do it by myself. I did it in community. And I think that was critical piece for me, and I'm hoping that I can bring my health and fitness tribe to one of the future episodes of the podcast to share more about this amazing community. But this was a community of women, is a community of women, like minded women that want to live their best lives, that want to be healthy, that want to be vibrant, and they enjoy, in this case, helping others do the same. So this is how I met a lot of friends in this community. Some of them continue to be my friends, and we haven't even met in person. All of this has happened virtually, which is the beauty of communities, that not always needs to be like face to face. And I think, especially after the pandemic, this was so evident, right? We could still connect with other human beings without having to be in the same room face to face. And that just opens the door for so many possibilities from what we were used to. But this happened for me way before the pandemic. I met this group of women and we connected on a daily basis. We were supporting each other holding each other accountable, sharing our wins, sharing our challenges, showing support, holding space for each other, and listening to each other. And it was a game changer for me. Since that point, I have been consistent with taking care of myself. I work out 6 days a week now. I eat healthy. I'm going to say 80% of the time because I am not perfect, but I have so much more energy. I am so much more vibrant. And I found people that share the same passions as me, that have similar challenges as I do, with who I find this emotional safety space to share my journey. And knowing that they're going to understand me and they're going to be there to support me, but they're also going to be there to call me out when I need to be called out. And this for me is the power of community. It's kind of like a sisterhood. It's like your family of choice. And I want to share, based on that experience and based on a recent experience as recent as this year, I documented here on the podcast my journey through the Unleash Her Power Within program, which is a Tony Robbins powered program. Um, it was originally designed for women, but we don't discriminate. There are also a lot of guys in our community. And I've done 2 rounds of this program this year. And the reason why I went for a second round, and I can see myself going for a third, a fourth, a fifth round after this, is because of the community. I wasn't looking for the community at that point. I was looking for the program itself because, as you know, 2022 is my year of reinvention. And I saw this program as something that could guide me through that journey this year. And what I found, far beyond what I was expecting, is an amazing community of human beings that have very similar interest, similar passions. Our lives might look completely different, our stories might look completely different, but we have a lot in common. We're all in this kind of a journey. And it has been an amazing experience. I've also made friends inside this community, people with whom I can be myself. I can be my true, authentic self. People that are there to cheer me up. They are there to give me advice when I need advice, to support me when I need support, to guide me when I need guidance. People that inspire me every day, and a community where I also have the chance to contribute and add value. And that has been also a game changer, especially, you know, in a pandemic world where we struggle to connect. We were talking about social distancing. And I think we used the wrong term. I mean, looking backwards, the last thing we needed was social distancing. We need physical distancing for safety reasons, but we needed social support and community more than ever before. So, coming out of the pandemic, now I work from home. So, having all these communities where I feel that I belong, where I feel that I find people that I like to be around, people that inspire me, as I said, and also a place where I can make contributions and feel heard, seen, value, and of value to others. And that is what community is for me. Some of the people that I've met in these communities, I can call when I have a problem, even if it's something totally unrelated to what brings us together in the community, because now I get to call them friends. And that is priceless. So I want to talk about, how can you go about finding community? How can you go about finding your tribe? And for me, this is how it looked like. First of all, I think that you need to start by knowing who you are. Before you can find your tribe, you need to know yourself because it's very difficult to find people that are like you if you don't know what that means, if you don't know how that looks like. You don't know with whom you resonate with if you don't know what your core message is, what your core values are. So, becoming comfortable with yourself and identifying and knowing what are the things that you value, what are the things that are important to you, what are your dreams, what are your goals. I think that is where I would suggest anyone to start if they're looking to find community. Because here is my experience prior to this two amazing experiences that I've had. I told you I have heard about the power of community, this term, right? I knew I have heard that you're the average of the five people you surround yourself with. And I was always looking for who are the people that I want to surround myself with? Who are the people that are one, two, three, 10, 100, 1,000 steps ahead of me that I want to surround myself with? Because I had heard that if you are the smartest person in a room, you are in the wrong room. And I've always was looking and seeking with who should I surround myself with. And in this quest, I wasn't looking inwards. I was all only looking outwards to who are these ideals, right? That I want to surround myself with. Who are these perfect people? I'm making air quotes, you can see me, that I want to invite to my circle. And two things happened with that approach that I had before. One, I ended up being very frustrated because I was shooting so high that the circles that I wanted to be part of were totally out of my reach. And I felt frustrated that I couldn't be in those circles. The other thing is that a lot of times I found myself, and this is something very vulnerable here, but I found myself trying to fit in, trying to be someone that I wasn't because I wanted to fit in into that circle, into that group, trying to live up to what I thought it was expected of me or who I was expected to be in order to be accepted into that circle. And that left me feeling that I did not belong. And now I realize why, right? I was trying to fit in a place that wasn't aligned with who I was. And worse than that, I was pretending to be someone that I wasn't, or trying to show up as someone that I wasn't. So, the first thing, if you want to find community, if you want to find your community, the one that is going to resonate with you, the one that is going to give you that power that you're looking for, you need to start, but first, knowing who you are, really. And the really is really important in the question, right? Is not only who you are, but who you are really. Like, go deep. Try to connect with your true essence, with your values, with your priorities, with your dreams, with the person that you are, but also the person that you want to become, which I had find out in my journey of reinvention this year, that that person that you want to become, it's already inside of you. You just need to find it inside of you. And that has been one of the most amazing breakthroughs that I've had this year, and one that I'm looking forward to share with you in our Thrive conference next September 15 and 16. By the way, if you haven't grabbed a ticket, there's only a few free tickets left. I'm going to put the link on the show notes of the podcast episode so you can go grab that ticket and come join us for the Thrive 2022 conference under the theme of reinvention. But back to the topic of community, which, by the way, they're interconnected. But back to the topic that we're covering on today's podcast episode. You need to start by knowing who you are. You also need to know what is that you need, right? Like, what is that you need right now in this stage of your life? What are the things that will help you bring the best out of you? What are the areas of your life where you maybe are struggling right now, or you want to improve, or you want to focus on? And for this, I go back always to an exercise that I have shared with you many times on the podcast, and that is the circle of life. That life audit where you basically self audit yourself in the different areas of your life to identify what are the areas that bring you the most fulfillment right now? What are the areas that are not giving you that level of fulfillment where you want to focus on? Because that exercise, and I have shared it many times, if you're interested to learn more, I will reference one of the latest podcast episodes where I explain how this works so you get to do the exercise. But this exercise can help you identify what is that you need. What is that you need in your life right now, in this season, in this stage of your life? A lot of times we're looking for community for the sake of looking for community. But maybe you're not looking for what you need right now, for the community that you need right now in your life. And that's why you go seek all these communities and feel like you don't belong, or that they're not giving you what you were looking for, because you were not intentional in the first place on what is that you were looking for. So, what is that you need in your life? Also, very important to unbundle that for yourself. And again, that life audit, it's a great exercise to help you put your finger on what are the areas of my life where I need the support right now, where I need the community right now. And how does that look like for me? What does community mean to me right now in this area of my life, right now in this stage of my life? Like in my example of 3 years ago, when I came across my health and fitness community, I needed that. I wanted to focus on my health and fitness. I needed accountability because I wasn't able to keep promises to myself. I needed support because I had no idea what to do. I needed someone that was there to remind me why this was important. Someone that will call me out on my BS when I needed that, right? And that's how I came across this amazing community that I'm still part of over 3 years later. The other thing that I think it's important when you're looking for community is to tap into your passions. What are the things that you're passionate about? That is a great place to start, right? Because I think when you join a community, you need to put in the work to get out what you're hoping to get out of that community. It's like with anything else, right? Whatever you put in is what you get out of it. And community is not the exception. When you join a community, of course, you want to join a community where people welcome you and you feel welcomed in that community. But it takes time to build the trust with the people in that community, to build the relationships. And I think a lot of times we give up too quickly on a community. And we give up because we never put in the work. We never fully show up in that community. If you join a community, you need to fully show up. You need to give it your all to that community and be patient, right? And build those relationships and build that trust. So I find that when you find or look for a community around a something that you're passionate about, that is when you're most vested into being active into that community. In my example, with either one of the two that I mentioned to you, in my health and fitness community, that was my priority at that time in my life. That was the one thing that was frustrating me the most, where I was finding the least fulfillment, where I was struggling with my own self confidence because I was not at my best around my health and fitness. And I was passionate about it. I was really invested into it. I was finding myself researching and looking for information in this area, and I was eager to learn about it. And I wanted it to work, and I was passionate about it. And that really helped me find the right community, and that helped me to show up fully in that community. So I was able to give it a shot and build the trust and the relationships that I still have over 3 years later. Another thing to find community is to try new things. Maybe you don't know what you're passionate about. Maybe you don't know where is that you need that support. You're like, I just want to be part of a group. I just want to have that sense of sisterhood or brotherhood or that sense of community. I just don't know where to start. I don't know what might be one area. Like I'm listening to you, Carolina, but I just have no idea. Well, just try new things. Sometimes simply thinking about something isn't enough to know whether or not you actually will enjoy it, right? So take the risk and sign up for, I don't know, a fitness class or a course, a workshop. Maybe it's a yoga class, maybe is um, professional event, a networking event, a photography class, a comedy class. I don't know. Like, look for things that you're curious about and try new things. I would say the way you prioritize those new things is things that you feel curiosity around. So maybe one thing is what you're passionate about. If you're not certain about what that is, maybe what are you curious about? And try new things. You'll learn what is that you like and what is that you don't like when you try. You will be able to narrow it down to what are things that you actually enjoy and areas where you want to have a community around, right? Maybe for me, for example, I try running and I running was not meant for me. I had a bad experience growing up one summer on a basketball camp where almost an ambulance was involved at one point. And that day, I decided that running was not for me. And I was scared of running. I didn't want to run. And during the pandemic, I told myself I'm going to run a 5K because why not? I needed to have some level of accomplishment outside of work. I needed to find a passion because I was finding myself a little bit lost and I decided to try running. And I fall in love with it. And I started running, right? Which was something that I would see people sharing in social media or friends talking about this race that they went and this 5 and 10K. And I had friends that were signing up for a marathon. And I always admire them, but I always told myself that's not for me. But I had that curiosity inside and I decided to try it. And I did it with this health and fitness community that I'm part of. There were other people that joined me, and I ended up running that 5K and many other 5Ks after that, and even a 10K. So I found that I like something that I didn't thought I liked. And maybe I'm not the fastest runner, I am not the best runner, but I had fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the process. And oh boy, I enjoy crossing that finish line. Another thing when you're looking for community that can be a starting point is attend meetups. And, I think that is a great way to get started into finding a community is to look into meetups and clubs in your area. And now, even virtually, right? As I said, we know now after the pandemic that it doesn't have to be face to face. But you can look in your own local community or you can look online. There are hundreds of these meetups and clubs. Like, go sign up for a book club or a wine tasting meetup or a creative writing meetup or you know, wine and books or yoga or creative writing or hiking or a race or a road trip or a painting meetup or a dancing meetup or a concert or a festival. Look around yourself and find a meetup and sign up. And I know it can be scary when you sign up for something that you don't know what to expect, especially if you, like me, are an introvert. But sometimes you just need to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And who tells you? You might meet a group of people that you resonate with, that you want to meet up with them again. And that's how you start your own community. One thing that I think is very important when looking for community is to let go of any judgment. If you are really honest with yourself, if I am very honest with myself, sometimes we are unable to connect with others because we are too busy judging them. We might dislike some qualities in others, um, or, or and most of the times the qualities that we dislike in others are actually things that we dislike in ourselves because we are mirrors of each other. But when we're constantly looking at the world through our own perspective, instead of open our minds to see it from other people's perspective, we fall into the trap of judging those around us, judging the communities that we're trying to be part of, right? How many times, and be completely honest with yourself, you join a community and after a week you left and you're like, "Oh, this community is not for me. These people are too whatever, or they are beneath me, or this is too advanced for me," or and you start judging all about it, all about the community itself, but also the people inside. And you're like, you're looking almost for this perfect group of people, these individuals that like are perfect. I can't find another word. And you find human beings that are perfectly imperfect. And then the only thing that you can see is their imperfections from your eyes, which might not be imperfections from someone else's eyes, right? We need to remind ourselves of that. But I think it's very important to let go of any judgment when you're trying to find your tribe, when you're trying to find your community. Because here's what in my experience, what I had find out. You're looking for this perfect group that has everything that you want, that is aligned to your expectations. And that probably doesn't exist. But here's the thing, a lot of times you don't know what you really need. Sometimes what you need is not what you think you need. And I'm guilty of this. I have joined groups where I start to judge the person, the community, the way it's organized, the way we communicate, the way we get together, and that person, I don't agree with what they're saying and so on. And Then I find in that community that it was just what I needed. I just didn't knew that that is what I needed. But it wasn't until I lower my guard, until I let go of the judgment and I just go in giving my all without expectations, without judgment. Those are the times that I found real community with real people, right? Not these idols that we see in ourselves, in our minds, but real people that we can actually connect with. The other thing is you need to know when to commit. And I would say if you have a good feeling about something, you need to make the effort to keep and being an active part of that something, and that something to be an active part of your life. Because it's very easy to get lost in a big community. You know, these communities that I'm part of, the one that started almost 3 years ago, started being really small. And when it's a small community, what I found is that you get to connect with those people and it's easier to hold each other accountable. So when someone was not showing up, that we could call on them and say, hey, you haven't show up. What is happening? Where are you? And sometimes that is an expectation we have of our community. But then this year, I'm part of this community uh, with 1,500 other people. This is a huge community. And of course, I'm not going to be able to connect with every person inside the community. I'm going to find my own little group inside this community. But a lot of times, we can get lost in the big community. And then we feel we don't belong. And then we feel this is not for me. When if you are viciously honest with yourself and you ask yourself, did you put in the effort that you should have put in? Did you really committed to this community? Did you lower your judgment and your expectations and you were focused on what could you do to make it work? What is that you could do to add value to the community before you even harvest any value out of the community? You know, I think community is about giving and taking, giving and receiving. And I find that when you go in wanting to give before you take, it's when you start to create those authentic connections with other people because it allows you to get to know the other people inside the community. It allows you to listen, to pay attention, to be present instead of just be focusing on your goals and your dreams and how can this community help me achieve what I want. Instead, you need to go in wanting to commit to serve, wanting to commit to add value to others, to help others feel seen and heard and value because everybody else in that community, just like you, that is what they want, isn't it? Isn't that what we all want? To be seen, to be heard, to be valued, to feel that we belong. So, how can you make others feel that they belong? And when you make someone feel that they belong, as a result, without even wanting, you're automatically creating that for yourself. And that was a shift in perspective that took me years to realize. In the past, when I had joined communities and I had really high expectations and really high hopes for what the community was going to do for me, how was the community going to benefit me? And then I came in with my guard up. I wasn't vulnerable. I wasn't willing to share the vulnerable parts about me, but I was quick on judging the community and judging the people in the community. And that's why I never felt I belonged. That's why I was never able to find my tribe, to find my community, because I was doing it all wrong. I was looking at things from the wrong perspective. When you lower your guard, when you show up as your true self, when you're vulnerable, when you show up wanting to add value to others, wanting to see others, to help others feel that they belong, to really connect, genuinely connect with people, regardless of who they are, how they look like, what their background is, then is when you start to feel that you're part of that community. When you start to connect with people in a completely different level. Related to that, in finding a community, I think you need to be the one that takes the first step and reaches out. I've joined many clubs and groups and circles in the past. And yeah, I introduce myself to the people in the group. Um, but I wasn't the one taking the first step, right? I attended something that already existed, hoping that it was what I needed, hoping that was the piece of the puzzle that complemented what I was looking for. And sometimes you need to be the first one to reach out, right? If you join a community and you don't know anyone inside that community, inside that group, be the first one that reaches out. Be the first one that um, says a friendly hello to a stranger, that asks questions, and you're curious to get to know the other people inside the community. When looking for your tribe, you are going to be required to take the first step. You're going to be required to be the one that is reaching out. Instead of waiting for your tribe to come to you, go seek for it. Go connect with people. And the funny and amazing thing is that you're going to connect with people that you thought would never be the type of people that would be in your circle, who end up being great friends for years. You just need to give people a chance. You just need to be the first one that takes that first step. Again, people want to be seen and heard and valued. How can you do that for someone else inside the community? And so, those are some things that have been very helpful for me. Some perspective shifts and mindset shifts and approach shifts that I've had to make in order to find my community. And now I'm thriving inside this community, and I love the people inside this community, and I'm looking forward to bring some of these amazing people to you in future episodes. But now I want to close today's episode sharing one more thing, and that is, how do you know that you found your community? And here are some signs that, for me, let me know that I was in the right community, right? One of them is you found people that encourage you to be yourself. In the UHPW community, some of the people that I'm going to bring to you, that I want to bring their voices to you, they have done that. They have encouraged me to be me, not to be perfect, not to be someone else, but to be myself. You know you found your community when your friends love you not because you're similar, but because you're different. That they don't love you because you're perfect, but because you are imperfect. That they encourage you to be yourself. You know you found your community when the people in the community, they encourage you to be honest. Be honest with yourself first, and then be honest with others around you. To be honest about how you're feeling, to be honest about what you value, to be honest about what you think, even if what you think is different than what they think. You know, you found your tribe, you found your community when they give you space to make mistakes, when they hold space for you, when they support you when you make a mistake to stand up, learn from your mistake and keep trying. They give you the space to make the mistake and they support you in learning from the mistake and growing from your mistake. They hold you accountable for your mistakes. So next time you can do better. They also encourage you to grow. And this for me was very important. This is something that I always wanted. I wanted to be surrounded by people that encouraged me to grow, not people that saw me growing and they pushed me away or they tried to slow me down because I was going too fast. And I've been part of groups where I was so focused on my personal growth that I outgrown the group that I was part on. And then I found myself trying to lower my standards to continue to fit in into that group. But in these communities that I'm part of now that are helping me to thrive, they're constantly encourage me to grow. They don't care if I'm growing to become someone else from the person that I was when I joined the community. They're continue to support me and encourage me to grow. And they, like me, they want to grow. They want to become better. And we encourage each other to do that. We learn from each other. We inspire each other. We support each other. We cheer each other up. We hold each other accountable. That's how I know that I had found my community, my tribe, the community that I want to be part of now and for years to come. So, that is what I have for you today. I hope that this inspires you to think about what communities are you part of and are you missing the power of community in your life? And maybe you learn a couple of things that you can try out to find your own community, your own tribe. I hope to see you here for another episode of this series. Again, I want to bring different voices and different perspectives, and I want you to meet the amazing women that I've been able to meet inside these two amazing communities that I'm part of. So, with that, as always, I'm going to ask you if you like today's podcast episode, do me a favor and share it with someone that you think can benefit from today's content. Or go ahead and share it in social media and make sure that you tag me at Leading Yourself Podcast. That's how you can find me both on Instagram and Facebook. With that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you here again for another episode of the Leading Yourself Podcast.